Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. On this Thanksgiving Day, we wish you a wonderful day with family and friends or whatever your plans are. Oh, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because seemingly everyone always has a plan for today, for their day, whether that's today, any other day, or it's Thanksgiving. And we'll talk about why sometimes holidays we have a more effective plan than we do during the regular day. We'll discuss all of that and more on episode 717 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Hey, Tom.
Good morning. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Much to be thankful for.
So much to be thankful for, and it's a great time to be thankful for it.
Yeah, indeed. And I have a quiz for you out of the gate.
Right away?
Yep, courtesy of the people at the bunker. I'm going to give you some time to think about this one.
Okay.
And I will send an autographed copy of my book, The Renegade Way, to anyone who can get one of these correct. Okay,
how many are there?
There are 3.
Okay.
There are 3.
What do I get? I have an autographed copy. What do I get?
I'll give you another one.
What if I get them all right?
I don't think so, but I'll accept that.
Wow.
There are 3 U.S. towns named by the traditional Thanksgiving bird, the turkey. Where are they? Which states? And one of them isn't just, it has something beyond the word turkey in its name. So 2 are just called turkey. They're in 2 states. The third one's turkey and something else in the third state.
I'm going to guess Pennsylvania, Turkey Hill.
I don't think Turkey Hill's a town, but that's not on my list here. You might have gotten me.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to look that up while you tell me the others.
Okay, so Turkey or Turkey something else. Let's see. Who would use Turkey?
I'm going to give you a win for that, Tom. You are correct. There's a Turkey Hill, Pennsylvania, and the fine folks from the bunker where I live that put this quiz together did not have that in their list.
Yes. So I would say, let's see.
I'll give
Virginia?
you a hint. Nope. The other 3 are all below the Mason-Dixon line, though. So south of Pennsylvania. I'll give you that hint.
South of Pennsylvania.
Mason-Dixon line, which Maryland and Pennsylvania, right? For those who don't follow their Mason-Dixon line history like we in the area do.
Drive by that line many times on my way to Gettysburg. So let's say Turkey. South Carolina.
Nope.
Darn. Maryland.
Nope.
Turkey.
You got one more. I'm giving you just one more because someone else has to do their hard work and figure this out. And don't cheat by going online. That's too easy.
Turkey. I'll say Tennessee.
Nope.
Darn.
Missed 3, but you got the Pennsylvania one right. So I'll give you a 1 out of 4. That's a good ratio. You could play Major League Baseball.
It's not. That's.
Well, I give you extra points because you found the one that wasn't in my answers.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. There are towns named Turkey. That's
yes. But at some point, think about it. If you're naming towns, you got to come up with something. I mean, I remember when I worked for a newspaper years ago in Maryland, one of the questions I'd always ask the developer of a new development, why did you pick the name you picked? And what are the street names? And there was a rash of developments that are still standing now, of course, that have the names of their children and their grandchildren.
Yeah.
So there's Mary Lane and there's Amanda Avenue and all those things. And they would be like, look, I've done 10, 20 developments. I'm running out of names.
Yeah, a lot of times it was like the farmland that it was
right
purchased from.
Or a geographical feature, the Carson's Run up here is a little river.
Yeah.
So there's a development Carson's Run. And, I think the naming is really interesting. And then I love the whole idea that you can name a city or a town, and it doesn't mean that it has to geographically fit all in the state or county that it starts in. You have those stragglers. Like I was on a property that literally was at the Maryland line last week. Like I was told, this is the line between Maryland and Pennsylvania, and some of my property is on that side. I have to pay taxes over for that part, and I have to pay taxes here for this part.
That stinks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while all of you work on trying to figure out what state has the city Turkey in it.
What states? There are 3 of them.
And one has Turkey and something else. That's why I thought Turkey Hill was.
Yeah. I give you
brilliant accent.
Well played.
We will move on with our show. So good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to this edition of Today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast coming to you live on this holiday day. Bob was questioning, why do we do these on the holiday? And I said, I actually kind of like it, especially Thanksgiving. I have some things to do today. So it's good to get up and sort of get going. So we will go through a conversation. We're going to actually talk today about your plan. The plan for the day could be today, which could be any day, or it could be Thanksgiving Day. Something for you to ponder, Bob, while I finish the introduction. And as we go through that conversation, if you have thoughts or ideas that you would like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments of whatever social media you happen to be following us on, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or
LinkedIn Live, baby, while I ponder.
LinkedIn Live, baby. You just keep adding to that. You got to go buying trademarks now.
You mean domains?
Domains, correct. Domains. Bob has a thing about domains. And at the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out how to move forward if you happen to get stuck and take your next step along your own unique pathway to success. And of course, if you have a one thing to share, please feel free to do that as well, because it might be different than what we have to say and could be exactly what someone else is looking for. So please feel free to share away on the comments, especially on this Thanksgiving. Give us your thoughts and ideas, and we'll be very thankful for it.
Can even just write Happy Thanksgiving.
You could even write Happy Thanksgiving. That would be a
Happy Turkey Day.
I like it. All right. Before, though, we dive into that conversation, each morning, Bob and I share our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating all the people in my life that helped make it something so amazing that I can be as thankful as I am today. I started writing a little list over the last 4 or 5 days of things I'm thankful for. It's already at 196 things.
Nice.
And I haven't even scratched the surface. People, things that have happened, experiences, and I'm trying to cycle through them. A lot of them, I'm trying to go back to the people and thank them for the specific things that they provided.
Nice.
So
I like that idea.
Yeah, so it's a fun way to just be thankful. And I think when you write it down, it makes it more real than to just have it in your head, or that, I had the broad concept of there's so many things I'm thankful for. But then when I started to think about them, it's like, I'm thankful that I have a place to live. I'm thankful that I have a vehicle. I'm thankful that, I have friends that care about me. I'm thankful. And you start to really think about all these things. I'm thankful that, here's a day where I have food on the table. Mm-hmm. And there are people probably within 3 miles of you and me that do not have food on their table today.
Or not
and
sure.
I know there are school kids who don't have food on the weekends.
Yes.
So you start to think through those things and like, wow, it's not. It's
a great idea.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great idea to write down all the things you're thankful for. It's amazing. And I think that's one of the things that as we think about it, and that might be a little prelude to our conversation next week, though I won't give that away just yet. And that's wonderful. I think it's great that you came up and wrote down the list. Good exercise. Good thing for people to think about. Even if they wrote down 1 or 2 or 3, might just be the perspective they need to help them move through a day.
Or it could be something to do over dinner. You're with the family and it gets awkward because you don't want to talk about politics or religion or anything else that could be controversial. So you just, hey, crazy idea. What if we each shared 2 things that we were thankful for? Go, Aunt Eunice.
One of those we used to do that at some point. I forget. I'm not exactly sure it was at Thanksgiving, although I'm pretty sure. I think I remember as a kid that became this awkward. Oh, heavens, when's it going to be my turn? How can I get it over as quickly as possible? Whereas now, as a more grown-up person, I could appreciate it differently. Let's put it that way. Awesome.
And it's also an insight into what people value, right?
Yes.
There are things that I think if you saw my list, you'd say, wow, I didn't know that was something that you really value, Bob. And I think that's the opportunity.
Yes, I would agree. Excellent.
All right.
So my celebration.
What celebrate you?
So, of course, I would celebrate all the things that I'm thankful for, and I appreciate that. And I'm gonna. I had a cousin-in-law actually, who happened to be. It's interesting in my family because we have a lot of kids, a lot of cousins, not kids in my family, but cousins. I'm one of 36, and I'm number 35.
How many children are how many parents are there?
8.
Oh, 8.
My mom is one of 8, and one of her siblings had no kids, and we only had 3. So for the other 6, there's 33.
Good Catholics, I assume.
Yeah, they had some clarity around some certain things. So,
or not.
Correct. And so my eldest cousin, who is the same age or almost the same age as my mom, remarried. Her husband was actually died, and she remarried. And she remarried a local guy in town. They lived the next town over, and she had a son who was about my age. Actually, we were the same age.
You make it sound like plantation times when you say she married someone the next town over. You make it sound like it's 1709 and they had to take the Conestoga wagon across the street. Come on.
What I was trying to say is that they lived near us. Let's put it that way. And had a son who was the same age as me. And the man that she married was a great guy, well known in the community. He was involved at the golf course I was at. He had a little mini mart gas station that he ran that I worked at for a little bit. And unfortunately, he passed away on Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So he had been ill for a little bit. And so I think that, while it was difficult, I want to celebrate his life. He did a lot of nice things for me because I was around them quite a bit. And every time I saw him was very friendly and curious about what was going on. And so I want to take this time to celebrate my cousin-in-law Bill's life.
Awesome. It's amazing how people have such an effect on us, and that it sounds like he just was him.
Yeah. And it's funny. Sometimes you don't really consider it, how much of an impact they had. Like it wasn't someone that I saw a lot, or because once I moved away, I just didn't see them that often. And unfortunately, their son, who was my age, died early. He was probably in his early 30s. And so, you just didn't see him as often. And I hadn't really thought a lot about him until my parents sent me a text that he had died. And I was like, he was a good guy, and he was good to me. So thought it would be valuable to celebrate his life on this Thanksgiving Day.
And you carry on, it sounds like, some of the same qualities that he showed you.
I hope so.
I'm certain of it.
All right.
Now we have to do one of those awkward Al Roker shifts. Turning now to the weather. It was kind of serious there, and we have to shift to the less serious.
Well, I don't know. It's just serious. Don't put an adjective on it.
Okay. I think
that
serious
makes
is
judgment.
an adjective.
What's
Just
that?
so we're clear. I think serious is an adjective.
Well, also then less serious is also an adjective. Fair or not? Mr. Grammar guy.
Yeah, keep going. No, we'll lose lots of people if we go down a grammar road.
All right. So we're going to have a conversation today around the topic for today is actually your plan for today. And I think that as I was thinking about this morning, it was interesting because when we initially came up with it, it was about what's your plan for Thanksgiving. And the more I got thinking about it, though, is that it's like, what's your plan for any day? And, so I think it would be great for us to have the conversation to share our plans for today. And then maybe how that, I don't know, maybe our antidote, if you choose, could be around how that relates to other days. So anyhow, would you like to share your plans for today, Bob, or would you prefer I go first?
I'll go. You kind of threw me on this one.
I like to do that.
So my plans for today, you mean for Thanksgiving?
Yes. It is Thanksgiving today.
It is. So I've been through some change this year. And so I will be spending some of Thanksgiving with my family, and it'll be kind of quiet. And later today, I anticipate that I will be back to watch the Cowboys and Giants play football. That's one of the things. I'm also hoping to catch some of the Bills game, although I don't know if I'll be back in time for that. And then I have a lovely piece of steak. I'm not a turkey fan. So I have a really nice piece of steak that I'll probably cook somewhere between those second and third games and just have a quiet day. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's been a busy couple of days, been busy couple weeks, couple months, and just looking for a little peace and tranquility. And we do our program tomorrow morning, and I agreed to get up early and do some things with that. So I want to make sure I'm not up too late tonight.
Little Black Friday shopping on your schedule for tomorrow?
Little Black Friday interviewing.
And some shopping, I would imagine, as well, right? At some point.
I don't know about that. Maybe after I'm done.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll see. I've been taking advantage of some early Black Friday sales online.
Excellent.
So
I like that.
How about you? What's your plan? You got the whole fam in the house, right?
Well, the family is in the house, and ever since our kids were born, I think, except one year when our stove stopped working in the middle of the turkey was actually in the oven and the stove stopped working. So every other year,
story.
Oh yeah, it was great. Loved it. We've stayed home for Thanksgiving, which there've been great things about it. I've missed some opportunities with my sisters and parents, and I wouldn't have traded it. So typically for at least, I don't even know how long, seems for forever, I cook the turkey and the stuffing. That's my gig in all of this. And, so my day is usually planning out like, okay, when can I get up? When do I need to get up? When are we going to eat? How do I start working on the turkey? And I kind of do my own stuffing. The only thing I buy the breadcrumbs, which I know for some people is probably sacrilegious.
When you say you work on the turkey, Tom, do you mean that you go out and take a live turkey and? No. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, I take it out of its container.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear.
There's a process to getting the bird ready to go. You got to butter the outside and the inside and put salt in the cavities. And, I like to put a little thyme or rosemary on it. Some as fresh as it can be from the store, I guess.
Okay.
So
I've never cooked a turkey.
Never, huh?
Never. No.
It's interesting. And what's funny is
turkey, so it wouldn't,
Got it. One of the funny things.
The stuffing in the bird or not?
No. I've heard just too many issues.
But as a kid, we lived through that.
Well, we're different now, so
Oh, that's my favorite thing.
yeah, no, I don't do that.
Okay.
Although I put a lot of the same spices inside the turkey.
It doesn't stay as moist when you cook the stuffing in a casserole dish. It just doesn't.
Well, here's the funny thing. I think my family likes their stuffing a little more crusty.
Okay.
Kind of a little on that border of not overcooked, but a little firmer than maybe most. So anyhow,
Okay.
then though I was going to say that one of the funny things is every year for this, even though I pretty much know the stuffing recipe, I pull out this old Betty Crocker cookbook that my parents gave me when I think had my first apartment. And it's out there to tell me like how long to cook the turkey and what the stuffing looks like. And it literally, like, the cover is gone. It's been through, however many moves. And, but that's always like a fun tradition to pull that out and see what happens. And recently, in the last 5 years, the other part of my day that's been added to this routine is going and getting a workout. So the past few years, my wife and daughter and I go to Orange Theory, get our workout in, so that then I can come back, finish the cooking, and then we can have a lovely day.
Is there someone home with the turkey while you're working out, or do you run the fire risk?
So it doesn't go in the oven until afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Gotcha.
No, because it's got to check on it every 30 minutes. And so
have to baste it, right?
You have to baste it. Can't be away for that long. So this year, then, of course, in the last couple of years, the Bills have been on TV. So I will get the turkey in the oven, watch the Bills, and then we'll probably eat after the game. And then we'll probably just have a quiet night at home, I would imagine. Probably there'll be some board game or card game in the midst of all of that, which has kind of been a nice family thing that we've done for a number of years. So that's kind of my plan.
Isn't it funny how much we plan out Thanksgiving?
That was the second sort of thing that I started thinking about is, when and I think really many holidays, people think about, if you celebrate Christmas, you think about, okay, what you've got a plan and a routine for Christmas. And I think others who would celebrate New Year's have definitely thoughts and ideas.
People plan out their Saturdays, really. I've got to do all these errands, and I've got to take the kids to soccer practice, and we're going out to dinner with these people, and we have to get the babysitter and all that. It's interesting to me. I would bet most people, and I'm probably the same way, honestly, plan out those types of days more so than their work days.
That was the interesting thing I was thinking about when I started really looking at this topic was, and it reminded me of the conversation we had a little bit earlier when we talked about this week. Mm-hmm. Why do we have a very specific plan and are typically more acceptable of others who have a different plan than we are during any other week of the year? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just a fascinating thing to consider is, why do we do that for holidays? Why do we do it for weekends? Why do we do it for weeks of holidays? And yet we don't maybe do it as much on a regular day.
Well, think about it. The weekends, the holidays, we're trying to get the most out of them.
Okay.
Because they're limited.
Trying to do that every day at work?
Well, but think about it. We only have Thanksgiving once a year.
Sure.
We only have New Year's Eve once a year. We only have Christmas once a year. Hanukkah comes once a year. The difference being with work, I've got another 239 days this year that I'll be working. So I've got tomorrow or Monday or whatever day. I don't think we give it, because it's got such frequency, we don't think about it. Although I do hear people planning their Fridays more than a Tuesday or Wednesday. Friday, it's like I gotta get stuff done because it's the last day of the work week, right?
Or so I can get out early, or take a half day.
Correct.
Or only work, whatever. It's almost like,
I heard lots of people saying that yesterday to me. Oh, sure. I got to get through all my work because I want to take a half day because I've got to go to the grocery store. I've got to start prepping for tomorrow's meal. We're having all these people over. I've got to clean my house. It is a fascinating thing when you start talking through it, because imagine if well, first of all, I would say in defense of not planning work days as aggressively as these other days, it can be exhausting to do all the planning. But where it may be easier is my workday planning is a whole lot less, involves a lot fewer people than holidays. You know, especially if you have children who are married and they have their customs and their family stuff and your stuff, and you got all the blending that you have to do. I don't have that on work days typically. I mean, yeah, I might have a meeting and it's like, well, this person can't meet until late in the day. But that's not as, it doesn't feel as constricting as family stuff can.
Wouldn't that seem to suggest that it could be
less important to us?
No, it could be different. And if we have less to plan for our workday, it would seem to think that we would plan more often for it.
Right.
That make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. I think it's fascinating. I didn't really, you put together this topic and I didn't really think it through to this level, but it is fascinating to me that I probably spent more time thinking about and planning out today than any workday probably in the last 3 weeks. I can think of one day where I really had to plan it out because there were some tight windows of things. So it's like, do I want to drive to this meeting and do the Zoom call from the car? Because if I hit traffic, I'll be late. But the other thing, Thomas, a lot of us are working from home more and more. And I think that doesn't make us feel as, what's the phrase? I mean, for me, at least, I don't feel serious about planning when I'm working from home. I don't have a lot of people who are checking up on me. So I have the ability to deviate from the plan or not have the plan more easily now than if I were in office. If you and I worked in an office every day, you know, at 8:30, you'd be like, hey, Bob, the program was great. What are you up to today? And I couldn't just sit in my office and, you know, watch cat videos. I would, I could, but you probably say, hey, dude, why are you in there watching cat videos? We have a lot more shelter now, I think, from reality if we opt to use it.
Okay, I can see that. It's just fascinating to me that it seems like there's less to plan, so we plan less. Yeah. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating to me. You know,
well, I think we as humans don't really like to plan. To plan is to box ourselves in. And I think one of the things I'm realizing more and more is people don't like to be boxed in.
It's interesting. Because it's fascinating to me sometimes how you watch people, how much they get into the planning of a holiday. Seemingly like, I mean, there's obviously it is interesting because I think people talk about how stressed they are about all the planning that they have to do. And yet I think they thrive on it at the same time.
Well, it's also different. It's new, right? Sure. You know, the people that are going to prepare their Christmas decorations and go cut a tree down Friday, that's a once a year thing.
Except,
my work day, I get up, we do this show how many times a year? 200 times a year. I don't need to plan it, frankly, because I kind of know what I'm doing with this program each day. It's muscle memory now. Whereas going out and cutting down a tree for Christmas, it's been a year. I don't even have a saw if I wanted to do that. I'd have to go buy a saw. So I'd have to build time in to go to the hardware store, buy a saw, figure out what kind of saw to buy. Will it fit my vehicle? Where am I going to go? How big a tree? Is my cat going to chew it up so I shouldn't get a live tree? I mean, there are a lot of things that come into that. Now, I could go through the same list for my work stuff.
Sure.
Hey, I'm doing automated LinkedIn outreach. Should I be doing it today or not today? Because are people going to respond to it today or not today? Should I be sending out my monthly email today or not today? Should I be doing, there are all those things that we can get bogged down with. But I think when it comes to work stuff, it's like, well, if I don't do it today, it's there tomorrow. How many people took this week off? I was surprised how many people are like, oh, I'm not working at all that week. Like, wow. Must be nice that you just let it go.
Choice that they made.
Right. Choice they
Doesn't
made.
mean they have any more time. They just chose their time differently.
Correct. Yes.
All right, Bob.
So,
So as we think about your plan and today, whether you want to talk about it as Thanksgiving or just in general, what's your one thing?
I think my one thing is what you brought to the table, which is that we don't plan for our typical days as much as we plan for these holidays. And I think there's a lesson there. I think I could, on holidays, I tend to get more out of those days. I tend to be really exhausted at the end of those days because I've packed so many things into it. I don't feel that way very often on work days. And maybe it's being more aggressive with the schedule and saying, let me pack more into this day. Or maybe it's just the intention of, hey, I want to get something really valuable out of this work day. What's that one thing? Let me commit that to what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I like that. I think there's a little bit of what I was thinking about in there as well. Because I think there's just some fascinating things to consider if you go that route. And I think as I think about it, it's funny you said some things I was thinking about. So now I got to think a little differently about what's my one thing.
Well, you can say everything you said is great. I've done it. You just you stole mine. There you go. And it's like putting an exclamation mark at the end of it.
Yes, and I think there's real value in putting a plan together because it helps you figure it out, whether it's on a holiday or whether it's not. And I think some of us do it with very detailed things. Some of us just consider it, and so they at least have some thoughts in their mind. And I think that's sort of where I land is like I had to think about I had to consider what were all the things I needed for my responsibilities for today. And in some regards for the last couple of days, because we had people in the house and we had to have different stuff around, more of it. and I think I do the same with work. It's interesting. I think, and I wonder if people's planning, while maybe not as much, their process is similar. Whether they're planning for a holiday or whether they're planning for a big project at work, that they would go at it in the same approach. And I would almost believe that we do, just because we typically don't have as many, or we don't consider them as significant a project at work as we do maybe a holiday. And so there's only a few times a year when we have really big work projects that we spend that much time working on a plan. And I think that if we started considering more things that we're doing in our work lives as significant, and we spent more time planning for each of those things, not more things, but we took like you talked about, okay, it's my newsletter, I'm going to send it out, and I've already considered whether that today makes sense or not. Or I've said, you know what, I'm just sticking with my plan is that every Thursday I send out a newsletter, and I'm just reconsidering what the message is, that it might not be about whatever I have going on in my work life. It's more about, okay, this is where people are at, and they're more likely to open it if it just says Happy Thanksgiving, where I'm so appreciative for all that you do to support our efforts or my efforts or whatever the case might be. And so I guess that would be my one thing, is that, and it goes back a little bit to the course that we put together, was really like, what's the one big thing that you have to do today, and focus on that and build a plan around that. Not that I have 15 things I have to do. Focus on the one or two that are really going to make a difference to move your organization forward, or to ensure that your holiday is more enjoyable.
Just like you have to get the turkey and stuffing done. You don't have to worry about the rest. Somewhere the pumpkin pie is coming.
Somewhere the rest of it will take care of itself. And I'm not really, I want to watch the Bills game, but I'm not planning for it. I know we're going to do something at night, and I haven't put a plan together for it. I focused on the one thing that I know is going to be and make a difference, and then build around it. Like once I knew the Bills were playing at this time and we were going to eat at this time, I could say, I could get to the gym at 9:30 and make it all work. So I think that's my thing. Pick out your one big thing, put a plan together for it today, whatever day that is. so that you can then move forward to find your own unique pathway to success. All right, everybody. Thanks so much.
Tomorrow we're going to have some Black Friday fun on Discoveries of the Week.
You talked about that earlier.
It's going to be a good time.
Looking
I'll be up
forward to
early.
it.
Make sure you join us.
Yes, please be sure to be here on Friday, unless you're out shopping, and then maybe go looking for Bob. Maybe you'll find him and you could be interviewed on this show. You never know.
You ruined it. Now they know what's going to happen.
I think you had talked about interviewing people before, so
I did not.
they don't know where you're going to be. They don't know what you're going to ask.
They don't.
And
It's all right here.
there,
You can read my scribble right there.
there you go. It's all set. All right, everybody. If you're listening to the podcast and you would like to share your plan for today or your plan for a typical day, we know that you can't do it in the comments. So we would encourage you to go to LinkedIn, to our Renegade Success Network for Leaders group, or to Facebook for our Ring of Renegades group, where you can share your thoughts and ideas there. Share your one thing, because we know that there'll be people out there who will find benefit from it. And you may just find one thing that you hadn't considered to help you figure out how to achieve your own pathway to success. So we look forward to seeing you in those groups. We want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, have a great day, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Be safe and embrace the renegading you.
Yes, indeed. And try not to overeat. It's hard. I know.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And if you do, go outside and take a walk around before or after whatever else you're doing, just to let your body settle so you don't just collapse on the couch and fall asleep.
That's it.
All right, everybody. Make it a great day. We will see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.